connect to with whatever that is that you consider source, that love, that presence, and bring that in. And it's a great way to start your day because it's like, oh, hey, I'm going to connect with the love before I start my day. Now, doesn't that sound like a really better way to start your days? Like, hey, I'm going to connect with love this morning versus getting on my phone and looking at my messages and looking at YouTube and looking at Facebook and all of that stuff. I think I'm going to connect with the love, which is a way to kindle that fire within you. So that's the first thing is take 5 minutes and set your space in the morning. Ground, see yourself as that tree, or maybe it's a river, but let that love flow through you and work through you because now the other thing I have come to the conclusion of is there are things that you can do. So it's not like not watching the news doesn't allow me to see what's going on. And of course, when I heard about this, I prayed for everybody involved, prayed for the people, the families, and just even the communities around that are just living in shock right now. So there's are ways that we can do this. But really, taking yourself off of the news is such a wonderful thing because I have come to the conclusion that news is really meant to stir us up emotionally into that place that's not love. It stirs us up into fear. It stirs us up into anger. And it's interesting because if you really look from a place of the last few years, I have taken this gander at people and the whole political situation. Now, it's interesting because I don't do politics. In fact, that's another place where you can kind of like take a negativity diet. Don't talk about it. It's amazing where it's like, no, I don't want to talk about that. But what I have noticed is that the media tends to rile people up on either side and making us divided. And what's interesting is that one thing that I have noticed is that the biggest thing that I have heard with whether this election or that election is fear. Where is this fear coming from? There are things that I have heard that like somebody's going to do this and somebody's going to do that. My God, if you heard all of the stuff that I heard, you would probably want to go put yourself in a hole. Seriously. Focus on the love. If this person believes this way, that's great. They can believe that way. Focus on the love within them. Don't focus on maybe their belief system isn't like yours, and that's okay. But focus on the love. One of the things that I have, I don't know if this is going to work. I have been doing a lot of reading lately, and recently, one of the things I've been reading is the Bhagavad Gita. Say that 3 times fast, ha. And one of the things that it really has showed me is how the ego mind is like, we really need to, the whole point of the Bhagavad Gita so far is that we have a war within our body, and the culprit is the ego mind. Because and this is the funniest thing, for many years I have said that I felt like my ego mind was like a monkey. The Bhagavad Gita says the same thing. It's crazy. So, the monkey mind, it goes, I'm going to worry about this. I'm going to think about this. This happened back then. And I'm still trying to oh my God, that happened 5 years ago. And I'm still focused on that. Or I'm focused on this and it hasn't even happened yet. All of that stuff is helping me not be right here, right now. Where right here, right now is where the love is, where the peace is, where the joy is. So, in the Bhagavad Gita, they said something that really sparked something within me. And one of the things it said and this is verse, is one who sees me everywhere, sees everything in me, and never loses me, or do I ever lose sight of him? So basically, right there, it's like, if God never loses sight of me, God always has me, God always has my back. And this older than the Bible verse is telling me God's got my back, then what am I worried about? Why am I worrying? There's always love. God's always got my back. Ancient scriptures, even beyond the Bible, have been telling me this. And yet, even the Bible tells me over and over and over again how much I'm loved, how much, like, we are more important than the lilies of the valley. And yet, the lilies seem to come back every year. So, where is it that we forget that we are that love? It's from those negativity things. So if we can let go of those negativity things and come back to the fire within, the love within, then we can express that and we can be that. It's our choice. And that's the most amazing thing, is that it is our choice. We were given that. You know, Eve ate that apple, and in that was the whole point, was God didn't, God may have said, hey, don't eat that, but God also gave us the choice. She did. She ate it. It gave us knowledge. And now what do we do with that knowledge? Do we go into fear? We can do that. I don't know about you, but that doesn't feel good to me. Does it feel good to anybody else? Does anger feel good? Nah, no. But does love feel good? Don't you love it when you're loved up on? Wouldn't you rather have that? Wouldn't you rather take peace into your day? Do you do that? Do you allow yourself that? And here's the crazy thing, is that you have every opportunity to change that. And people go like, well, how can you do that? You just say, I'm not going to go that other route. And you think, oh, well, you don't know anything. You don't have anything going on. Well, lately I have had a lot going on. I was actually supposed to talk at the winter solstice Sunday, and I didn't talk because my mother had just suffered a massive stroke. She's doing much better now, and which is great. But at the time, it was just a little bit overwhelming for me. And I had people who was like, aren't you scared? Aren't you worried? Well, yeah, I'm scared. I'm worried, but I'm going to still choose love, because I know that no matter what's going on, I'm not in control. That is such a freeing thing. Even today, we have all of this electrical stuff going on. Am I in control? No. I could go, oh my God, all of this electric stuff is going on, and I've got this talking, oh my, how is that going to serve me? But instead I start laughing. I start laughing about the fact that there's a song that we sang about the universe this morning, and every time I have practiced it, I have gotten this one word wrong. And today I got it wrong too. And you probably don't even know that it was supposed to be face, and I said day. And I was like, I started laughing because it's like, I just can't get that word in there. Sometimes you would take that and go like, oh, bad me. And to me, I just started giggling. This is where you get to take yourself less seriously. It's like, if you realize you have no control, everything is just a reaction. That's the only true place you have control over, is your reactions. I got this situation. What am I going to do with it? Well, I'm going to choose love. I might choose crying along with the love. Did a lot of that, because on top of here having all of my mom's stuff, January 3rd, my dad went in the hospital. Everybody was like, how are you hanging it together? I'm like, I don't know. I just am. Because I have that faith in God, that trust in God, that I know that whatever's happening in my heart, I'm holding that peace in my heart. I know I'm going to get through anything. So, tools. That's the first, let's talk about that. So one of my first tools is I meditate and I pray. I pray a lot. In fact, I'm kind of the one that's taking praying to a different place. And there's this amazing book by Tyler Stanton called Living Like Monks, Praying Like Fools. Okay, so I'm going to invite you to pray to God in a way that I pray to God. Okay, so I'm driving down the road. This guy just cut me off. Dear God, please help that person because obviously they need some grounding. They need a little assistance because they almost just caused an accident and I almost had to run into them because they're so not in their body. So thank you, God, for helping them. Now, that really helped me because now instead of saying that and all of those words that I used to say in the past, because let me tell you, I'm not the best person in the car. I can have words that look like a fishmonger's wife come out of me, and it's like somebody possessed has taken over my body. And here I live in a town where there's tourists, which is so funny. But if you take that piece and instead of being angry at that person or what the heck are they thinking? And it's just like, oh, dear God, I don't know what the heck they're thinking. Can you help them? It really shifts the way you feel about it. And you can use that more than just in vehicles. You can use that everywhere. You can have that be that person who just was annoying and whining and like in your face. And it's like, dear God, I don't know what's going on with them, but they need your help right now. You know, you can say it out loud. You can say it in your brain. But the one thing that's going to really help you is the fact that you shifted your energy to, God, I need help. And if you don't like the word God, you can say, universe, I need help. Holy expression, I need help. Holy Spirit. I love saying Holy Spirit because I know that that's what's real for me. Because I know that that spirit, that is the extension of source energy, which I call God. You may call, from the Bhagavad Gita, they call it Brahma, which is this universal life force. And you are the extension of that. And so we have this ability just to say, hey, I need help. And we got it. On top of that, we talked about meditation. And then I'm going to talk about a little something that nobody really talks about, but in Massage Land, it is one of the first things we learn, and that's grounding. So to be grounded means to be present. And there's actually tools that you can do to make yourself feel more grounded and be more grounded. Because when you're grounded, you can actually catch things that are going on around you and really hear. And because a lot of times when you're not grounded, I've seen this where somebody talked to somebody and I was like, oh, that person didn't even hear what this other person said. Because literally being grounded means you're in your body. You may not know this, but you can activate and run your body without necessarily being in your body. And how do I know this? Have you ever talked to a child who's about 3 or 4 years old and you said, okay, let's say, Tommy, go clean your room. And 15 minutes later, you come back to Tommy in his room and he's sitting there playing with his toys. He's not cleaning. It's like, Tommy, why aren't you cleaning your room? Huh, Mom, what? Okay, so the first thing that happened is little Tommy wasn't in his body when you said, go clean your room. So kids are really good about operating their body and floating out into the universe. They love to do that. And some of us actually as adults have kept that up because it was safer to be out here than to be in here. So I'm going to challenge you to bring your spirit back in and be here. Now, sometimes it can be a little bit scary, but because that means you actually have to be present and you might have to feel things. You might have to feel other people's energies because some of you, probably a lot of you in here, are sensitive to energies. And when you're in your body, you're going to be more sensitive to energies. When you pop out, you can be like, oh, that person over there is mad. I don't have to feel that because I'm out over here. But if you can come back in here and go, oh, that person's really angry. Maybe I need to say a prayer for them. That changes everything, doesn't it? Maybe I'm angry. Maybe I need to say a prayer for myself. Hey, God, I'm having a rough day here. I need some help. And just right there, just me saying that, I felt everybody in the room go, oh yeah, I could use some help. I could use help on a daily basis. So start asking for it. Because I believe one thing, I believe that there's all of these angels out there and they're waiting. They are waiting for us to ask for help. And once we ask, miracles can happen. And guess what? Angels can be used in many, many different ways. That's one of my tools here, is call upon your angels. Fun fact, try getting in the car and saying, okay, angels, I've got you on the corners of my car, and I want you to illuminate the way for me to get from this point to this point easily and effortlessly, and just let me know where I need to be, and drive down the road and find out how that works for you. For me, I'll do that where I'll be driving like to Lucy's house on a Monday, and it'll be a holiday, and it'll be like, oh dear God, there's so many people here. And it's like, okay, angels, get me going. And the next thing I know, it's like, here, get into this lane. Here, get into that lane. And before you know it, even though there was so much traffic, I'm there with time to spare, thinking I was going to be late. How does it happen? The angels. They are God's helpers for us. They were meant to be here for us. So use them. They really, really want to be used. They kind of like, I see them kind of like, okay, we're here, you know, and then once we go, oh, like finally they're giving us something to do. So ask often. You can ask for guidance. You can ask for help in the car. You can ask to be supported when you're going into a meeting. You can, and there's so many countless ways of doing this, asking. We just forgot about it. So I'm saying, go ahead and ask. Another thing that's really helpful in the tools is doing things that you love. Like for me, I love singing. I love singing about God. I kind of have this funny thing is like on my Pandora, if I'm feeling really, really like not yippee skippy, I will put on a Christian channel, Lauren Daigle. I really highly because she's just amazing. I will put on chants like Deva Premal, or Mitten, or Pia. These are all people who have these beautiful musics. This is where I found the song Set My Fire on Soul. It's just like, I want songs that are going to lift my spirits and make me feel that connection to God. I mean, it's always there, but I want to feel it. And so that's what I do, is I bring in music to help me do that. Sometimes I will get out and I will dance in my front room. I'm sure people walking by are like, what the heck is she doing? I'm dancing because it brings me joy. And I recognize about 15 years ago, one day, I was like, I love to dance. Why am I not dancing anymore? Oh, because you're too old. You can't do that. Well, phooey. You're never too old to dance. And in fact, grab yourself an old granny. They love to dance. And it really, really makes them happy. And children love to dance. If you need someone to dance with, grab a child. They will be more than happy to sit and boogaloo with you. Nature is another place where you can go, and we are so blessed here. I don't know how many times I've had to say to people when they're like, well, this is going on and this is going on, and it just really, like life is sucky and da-da-da-da. And I look at them and I go, you could be in Fresno right now. Bakersfield? Like, think about that. We are so blessed. We have these beautiful trees. We have this beautiful lake, and it is a far shot from Bakersfield, which I'm sure is okay, but this a place that we live in here, right, is so amazing, right? And all we have to do is, even in the rain, go out, bundle ourselves up and go take a walk and see the beauty all around us, like the drops of water as they fall off the pine needles, or go by the river and just see where everything just looks so beautiful and the ducks are swimming and they're having a grand old time. These are ways to feed your fire. And I'm sure there's more ways that you can feed your fire that you know of. It's time to feed the fire. It's time to step away from the fear, step into love, and be all that we're truly meant to be. And on that, I'm going to say a ho.